YouTube, what it do is you got CJ back with another video, back with another episode of the CJ Wilkins YouTube channel. I want to do a video today about the importance of being a self-starter. You know, a lot of times, man, like, you know, when you'll see a job posting, especially for like, you know, more so of like a leadership role, or, you know, you're a manager or something, for an example, they always, one of the top traits they look for, or you'll always see listed on the job description, is that they'll say self-starter, right? And a self-starter is so important in a lot of phases of life, but especially pertaining to that of leadership, because when you're a self-starter, you're somebody who's able to self-motivate. You're able to get yourself up and get yourself going. And that's important, not just in leadership, but that's important in everyday life, you know. And that's what this video is going to be about. Why it's important to be a self-starter in life. And especially as we head into a new year, we're getting ready to head into 2025, it is very important. Man, woman, teenager, you know, whoever like watching this video right now, it is so important that you're able to be a self-starter. We have to get out of the mindset that it's somebody else's responsibility to motivate us. It's someone else's responsibility to, you know, push us to do the things that we know that we're supposed to do, right? And listen, it would be very hypocritical of me to have a motivational platform, or a platform to where I look to every day to inspire people and uplift people and push people and motivate people. It would be very hypocritical of me. Let me go ahead and get my disclaimer out of the way. It would be very hypocritical of me to create content to motivate people and then make a video telling people to don't rely on other people motivating you to do what you have to do. I have to always keep in the proper perspective that motivation and getting inspired by other people, it should always be used as a supplement. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't be the primary source of what gets you up and what gets you going and moving and, you know, driving in the right direction, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like, please use motivation and wisdom and inspiration. You can use it, you know, as a supplement to help get to where you're trying to go, or to get, you know, in the right position, or to get on the right path. Please use it for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because there's a lot of value in wisdom. There's a lot of value in inspiration and motivation, and you know what I mean? People putting out content to help nudge you in the right, you know, like in the right direction, you know? So that is important, but don't solely rely on those outside forces and outside factors and that outside, you know, inspiration to get you to do what you're supposed to do, you know? And for most people, as quiet as kept, a lot of people know what their purpose is. A lot of people know what they want to do, or they know what they feel like God created them for. You know what I mean? Sometimes people like may have multiple things that they want to do, right? So they get kind of confused or discombobulated with the options of all the different things they want to do. So they're so inundated with everything that they want to do that they actually do nothing, right? Then you have the people who know what they want to do, and they just go into this deep state of paralysis, analysis paralysis. Yeah, and that's when they just analyze and they prepare and they study and they research, but they never put any effort behind it. You know, they'll go to a real estate investment meeting association class 4 years in a row, but they'll never pick up the phone and cold call a seller, or they'll never like send an email, or they'll never write a letter, or they'll never start that company, or, you know, they'll watch videos on YouTube on how to write a book, but they'll never write chapter 1, you know. A lot of people do that too, you know. They go into the analysis paralysis to where they want to make sure they know everything before they get started. And the downside to that is as an entrepreneur, as a as a business owner, you're never going to know everything before you get started. You're always going to be lacking in some form of information before you get started. But you shouldn't allow that to be, like a hindrance. So you shouldn't allow that to cripple your momentum. Like, you should still go for it. You should still start, because until you start, man, there's always going to be some type of a knowledge gap at some component. Like, you can research, study, you can go get as many Google certificates as you want, and those are great. Like, please, be knowledgeable on what you're getting ready to get into and endeavor on, but know that you're not going to know everything, even like when you get started, right? And that's okay. You can learn as you go, but starting gets you a lot closer than just preparing and just never taking action, But it's so important, man, to find a way to actually motivate yourself, man. Take that motivation. I don't care if you read a blog or if you watch, content or listen to content on motivation or inspiration, which is a beautiful thing, because I do as well. Like, I have my channels I listen to and I go to if I'm feeling down or something, or if I need to pick me up, whatever you do, like to get inspired. Some days I like to get up and go for a walk. Some days I like to open up the Bible and read read a few chapters and verses and passages that may be applicable to what I'm dealing with for my religious people. But yeah, man, like it's so vital that you know how to start yourself, man. Because here's the thing that no one will tell you, right? Here's the thing. The thing is, everybody has their own movie, right? And when I say movie, I'm talking about like everyone's life, quote unquote, is their novel, is their book, right? And in everybody's movie or novel or book, they're the main character, or you should be the main character in your story, right? People have to do so much work for their main character in order for the movie or the novel to be a great one, right? You don't want an average life book. You don't want a mediocre life book. You don't want a bad life movie, right? So it takes an obscene at time amount of work and effort and consistency and due diligence to make your life, your movie, your book, your story the best that it could possibly be. You have to think, people may not have the most energy or incentive, I'll say, to always have to constantly remind you or push you or motivate you or tell you, hey, get up and do this or get up and do that, or hey, you need to start this, you need to start that. People can do that in a sense of like, inspiring you and just loving you. Sometimes, like, when you love people, you want more for them than what they want for themselves, right? So like, if you know a person and you love them and they have a goal that they want to do, or they want something out of life and they may not be putting forth the effort and energy themselves, sometimes if you're the kind of person I am, you will create things for them to help them like along their path in hopes that they'll get started. Like, you may have a friend who say, hey, I have an idea for a nonprofit or a business and I want to do X, Y, Z. The kind of friend I am, I'll go online and do research and I will craft them a 3 to 5 page article type breakdown of everything they need to do. Step A, step B, C, D, all the way to Z. And provide a list of resources for them locally to get started on their journey. And I give it to them. Like, that's hours out of my day that I use to put together for someone. I don't do it for everybody, but like if you're in my circle, or like if I know you and and you're like, hey man, I really want to start a barber shop, but I don't know how to get started. We all know that research is free, right? Anyone, like, Google is accessible to everyone, and you could easily get online and say how to start a barbershop, how to open up a daycare, how to go back to school to get a certificate to be a project manager, how to get a job as a, like an IT director, HR director, whatever. that information is readily available online, and people can do the research. They just choose not to sometimes, right? But, you know, there's an old saying that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make the horse drink, and that is so true. And I see it all the time. Like, I see it so many times in life when people have an idea for something, and you actually do the work to try to push them down to the lake, to where the water is. You know, they profess to be so thirsty, and, you know, man, I haven't had any water in a week, and, you know, you push them down there to the lake or to the pond or to the well or wherever the water is collected, and they don't drink. You know, for whatever reason, they don't drink. Like, the water is right there for them to take a sip, and they never do, right? And if you're a person like me and you're that type of overly supportive friend, sometimes you have to come to the realization that they don't want it. And it's not your job to make them want it. They have to want it themselves, because you can have all the inspiration and wisdom in the world and the inspiration, right? If you don't convert that motivation or that thirst, I'll say, for knowledge or inspiration, then you're not accomplishing anything. Like, nothing happens to the motivation if you don't convert it into action. If you don't take that inspiration and motivation and you know, get up and do something with it, it doesn't mean anything. Like, it was all for nothing. You did all of that, you know, watching stuff on YouTube and, you know, reading the ebook on it, and, you know, going to Pinterest or Reddit and trying to find community pages that, you know, are about what you're looking to do. You wanna be a beauty artist. You wanna be a hip hop performer. You wanna be a novelist, a book writer. You know, you wanna write ebooks and make millions doing so. You know, whatever it is that you want to do, you can seek the motivation, you can seek the inspiration, right? But you have to put energy behind it. And I actually go as far as to say, until you put energy behind it, it really doesn't exist, right? It doesn't exist until the energy is put along with it, because there's always an equation to life, you know? There's always like an equation. And the equation comes down to, you have a dream, right? And then you add in a little motivation / inspiration. But then you have to add in work and effort. And what you end up with is the realization, the reality, right? And I'm telling you, if you work at something long enough, you put effort in and you're consistent, the biggest part of any success is just being consistent. I know people like to come on here and act like, you know, they'll say you pipe dreams on certain things, like how to get rich in 30 days and stuff like that, you know. They'll try to sell you things that don't really make a lot of sense, you know. But one thing you can always be rest assured of is, if you're consistent, if you continue to like show up, you will most definitely succeed. You will most definitely win if you get into the habit of just being consistent enough to show up day in and day out. You know, that's a very important thing. Being able to really just show up on a day in and day out basis, right? You'll be so surprised by how incremental steps really add up over time. You don't have to run a mile in a second. If you can get up and take a few steps every day, and at the end of the day, it may not really seem like you're taking a lot of steps while you're taking them, but at the end of the day, you'll look back and say, man, I really come a long way. That's really how success goes, you know. That's really the way that it works, you know. But yeah, man, like, you just gotta motivate yourself, inspire yourself. And once you've done with the motivation and you've received the inspiration, please do yourself a favor and do the work. Put effort in. Set goals for yourself. If you're just starting out, you don't have to build 7 days of the world in one day, you know. Break it down like God did, you know. Make the water one day, make the sky and the birds the next day, you know. Make the vegetation another day. There's always something different that you can do every day, and you can break it down to pieces to where it's smaller, you know. So you're not so bombarded with just like how they say the easiest way to eat an elephant, right? You can't eat the elephant at once. You gotta, like, you know, slice it down to smaller pieces and just eat it like bite by bite, you know. That's how you gotta do. Like, whatever dream you got, find a way to break your dream down to tangible steps and goals, and you can accomplish it that way, you know. But as always, man, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel, CJ Wilkins. Also follow my new blog, The Art of Masculinity. I'll put a link to that below. And as always, I'm CJ and I'm out. Peace.